Here's the St Kilda lineup, and as we mentioned, there was a lot to like last week. Although in the second half, Collingwood really came at them hard.
And from last week, Hutto, they've added Graham, Hayes, Baker, Dempster and Dow Sando, so 5 of their best. It's a quality side. Only lost 3 games last year, the grand final by 12 points. And the one for me, Revolt hasn't been up and running pre-season just about ever. Kicked 6 in their only intra-club, kicked 4 last week, so they're in pretty good shape. Speaking
of blonde forwards, we already had a quick look at Reece Stanley, but a closer look at him and a reminder about what he did last year. He played 17 games for Sandy, but he also happened to win the grand final sprint at 200 centimetres.
Which not many blokes 200 centimetres bother to enter the grand final sprint, so he's obviously quick and he's an athlete with a basketball background. But what we saw last week is that he understands the game really well. Took some great contested marks, watched him really lead and present well. I understand that he's absolutely followed Nick Revolt around everywhere, hasn't left him alone, and if he does that and gets that sort of work rate and ethic, he's going to be such a good player.
Yeah, they have very high hopes for him probably in a couple of years. Let's have a look at their opponents tonight. The Sydney Swans, they've got a good mix. We've got excited about Rowan and Jetta and so forth, and young Curry, but also they've picked up some used players from other teams.
They're brilliant at doing that, aren't they? Recycling players. You can see Marty Matner there from the Crows a couple of years ago, who's gone on to play fantastic footy. Tyne Keneally back from winning the All-Ireland final last year and living his dream. Ben McGlynn's a good inclusion for them as well from Hawthorn, and I think Paul Roos loves to do that, pick a player that can, I suppose, get a second chance and make the most of it.
Down to the Coventry end, as you can see, there's been a lot of resurfacing down at that end of the ground, and it is in much better condition this week than it was last. It's always a really competitive game when St Kilda take on Sydney. Going to be a good game to call. Kelly Underwood, welcome to you.
Thanks for that, Andy. Very much looking forward to it. Great to be here, and gee, today walking around Melbourne feels like footy weather's almost back. The temperature hovering around the low 20s and a little overcast. The roof is closed, and as you mentioned, a small crowd in, but it shouldn't reflect the quality of the game. There's Adam Goods, the Sydney co-captain. Nick Revolt won the toss, so the Saints will kick to the Lockett or the northern end of the stadium. And here's Brett Kirk, the other Swans co-captain, of course. Luke, he was snubbed last week by Brock McLean, who refused to shake his hand, and McLean barely got a touch as a result of that. So to be a brave man that refuses to shake Brett Kirk's hand before the opening bounce here tonight.
Bad karma not to shake Brett Kirk's hand, probably the most respected player in the AFL. Did that once myself, and there we go. Well done to David Armitage, who's learnt the lesson there and given the handshake. But I did that once myself after a game, didn't shake hands, and probably the only thing I really regret from my career. Not a great thing.
All right, Sydney and St Kilda then, week 2 of the NAB Cup. And the opening bounce sees Seaby pitted against McAvoy. McAvoy was the quickest to respond when it hits the turf, but Bolton getting it forward as he does so efficiently. Jack felt what so many opponents felt last year, the wrath of the St Kilda tackling and aggression. Fisher, his good combination with Gwilton. Montagna, what a player he's become. An elite midfielder now. A very open St Kilda forward line. And Nick Revolt doing what he does best. Now McAvoy's pushed deep, but he decides to go short to Milne. And Milne can have a shot for goal.
Great setup on that occasion for the Saints. An open forward line, one-on-one opportunity for Nick Revolt. We always talk pre-season about how well everyone looks and how fit and tan they are, but Nick Revolt generally hasn't played too many early games, and he's in sensational form. 6 in the intra-club, 4 last week, and started superbly again.
Stephen Milne was pretty adventurous last week. 17 disposals, 9 marks, 4 rebound, 50, so he covered a lot of territory. Back in his more familiar domain inside the forward 50, but begins with a behind. We know that he's generally a bit better when he's kicking on the run, and here go the Swans.
And they bring it back into play. This is O'Dwyer getting in a bit of strife. Grundy wraps up McAvoy. Kazitsky's in there as well. And the ball will not be coming out from under there, so the umpire will bounce it.
And as a result, we've got space inside 50 for both sides.
I think in the last 5 times they've played here in the regular home and away season, the average match score has been about 136, so just under 70 for each team. Here's Moore with a chance to put a goal on the board, which he duly does. Yes, he was. And here, talking of impressive, this man Jetta gets a deep Curry. Hangs on, looked like he wanted to play on. I'm not sure why.
Go back, young fella, and you're 10 metres out. Got a little bit excited there. It was a great take, little kick forward, and it was a nice Slips catch. Look at Jetta. How's that turn of speed? He was so good last week. Nice take that under a bit of pressure, but what are you going to do? Go back and slot it through.
Not sure what Adam Goods was thinking. He was sort of giving him the option to handball. A couple of big names come on for the Saints, Hayes and King. We're watching 21-year-old Daniel Curry, who pokes at it from 30. Got the goal umpire moving a bit, but he's got to go. That's the most important thing. Marks, but only one behind so far. Matner, who was excellent in his first year with the Swans. Not quite as effective last year, but still a handy player. Kennedy's got the grab at half-back. Looking up to the wing where O'Keefe's moved, but Goddard was right onto that. And he's able to get the Saints moving forward again through Milne. Indulges in a bounce and then surprised McAvoy. Made him stop and prop. And he did well and adjusted nicely, the big fella. Yeah, in his 11 matches, Ben McAvoy. And he is a good kick pass.
Now Malcheski, nearly caught, forced to retreat and then reload. Here's Seaby, needs to find a target and he doesn't, and Milne can sting them on the turnover here. Out in front is Revolt, takes an easy chest mark.
Happened.
He's already missed one this evening. This, he converts though, and the Saints hit the front.
So they would be, as you said, a long way back to the grand final, but they're in very good shape.
McVeigh to Smith inside 50. Dawson dropped what he should have taken. Gwilt at the back of the pack though. They should be able to clear. Graham stalking him though is Rowan, and I think he might be caught. Well played by the youngster, Gary Rowan.
Reverse and go to Jones. There's a fumble from McGualter. And there was no one to get him out of trouble. Goods, a big vacant area inside the 50, gave it a lot of hang time. Poor Bevans, he had a long time to get nervous, but he held his ground beautifully there.
At sea.
Swans to retake the lead then, which they duly do.
Brendan Goddard, All-Australian for the first time last year, off to Graham, the run of Graham, and he pops it out in front of McAvoy. Does it sit for him? He did well. It was quite clever in the end, creative to get it off to Gilbert. On the trusty left, out in front. Down there is Kazitsky, so too's Revolt. He gets there first, off to Milne. He loves the goal, he smells a goal, he snares a goal. Well done, Stevie Milne. As Mumford palms it down to Bolton. Comes out the side. This is Matner. Hasn't missed a game since crossing from the Adelaide Crows a couple of years ago. Trying to juggle the mark was Gilbert. McGlean with the little handball out to O'Keefe. Last year's best and fairest winner. Never going to miss from there. And the Swans hit back.
At the moment, I guess both teams are trying to get themselves right, worried too much about the opposition.
And Curry kicked a good early goal. As we just see another one for you, Bruce, which will make you happy from Kieran Jack.
No, it was terrific. Good to see the big fella. I mean, he's big and he's athletic, and hopefully he can catch a few more by the end of the night.
And hold in front.
Still had 5 more inside 50s than their opponents, the Saints. Goddard and Seaby in the back. So Goddard maybe just beyond the range here. Could have given to Del Santo. Decided there was an opening there, and he wasn't beyond his range after all. And that's for 9.
Right on the mark, stay clear.
And now O'Dwyer again.
Move it on. Play on.
So Sydney by a point. O'Dwyer has got a Lucy out wide at half forward. And we saw this is about where he did the damage last week, Jetta. 2 bounces make it 3. Let's fly to full forward. The wrestle is on, and Bevan with a lovely shove takes the mark in the goal square. Beautifully done.
If you didn't see last week, Lewis Jetta did that 2 or 3 times, and it is just so exciting. The player that has got the speed to be able to break and just burn his opponents, but then at full pace to be able to kick it that far and that accurately is very special.
Can't wait for the replay of the non-push in the back. Bevan kicks the goal. Kirk comes crashing through. Dawson had it covered. Jones, Montagna. Now they start to run. Peak starting to look better. Starting to get a couple of nice touches. Graham Back to Jones. So they've worked it by hand primarily. Graham, bit of a gunslinger there as he carried it through half forward, but didn't have anywhere to kick it to. It just wobbled, which probably wasn't a bad option in the end because there was no clear St Kilda player. And the tackling almost saw the end of Melcheski. And now it's Grundy with the issues. He threw that out. Kazitsky, surely they can score a goal here. And Graham makes it a certainty.
Last year.
The Saints averaged a record 72 tackles a game last year. Ball goes in towards revolt territory. Hayes brought down. McVeigh did well through traffic. Now Grundy, Richards coughs it up. This could be costly, and on the end of it is Kazitsky, and he lines it up and he slots them through. 2 in a row to the Saints.
Because Revolt was there on his own. Always a pretty logical option. Now Kazitsky working really hard off the 50. Milne's back on his own in the goal square. When I say on his own, he has an opponent, but Goddard is next up. A lot of space in front of Stephen Milne, and that's where Goddard heads. Smith crashes into his back. Just got a little bit disorientated.
That is such a good kick from Brendan Goddard. The kick put pressure on Smith because very few players can kick at 60, that low and that hard, and it forced a one-on-one situation, and Smith panicked, gave it away.
The layoff to Graham. I think this could be for 9. It's a super goal.
Smart play from Milne, little dish off to Graham. Such a good stopper in the game now is Clinton Jones, but stoppage after stoppage when you play the Swans. Here they are again with tackle pressure and just wear you down with frustration.
They're winning the contested ball tonight, narrowly too, the Swans. 50. This will be 9.
So a chance for Seaby. He's going to play on. He'll run into an open goal, and that's a super goal. The Saints first.
Is that 9? It's not. He's actually given up.
Oh, no, he's not doing...
Because he's played on.
Our Ruckman friends any favour. What have you done?
And cost them 3 points.
Oh, no.
So if he'd stopped, pulled the socks up, and had a set shot, that would have been a super goal, and the first one for the Swans, but he's opted to play on, run into an open goal. His eyes lit up. He thought, here we go, my big moment.
And I tell you who's not the most unhappy is the Muckin-Bundon Footy Club in WA who didn't get their $1,000 worth of NAB Sharons.
Bored.
They did it last week as well against Collingwood with Didak. Didak dragged him down to the forward line.
Bit stilted here, the Saints, but they get it okay. Through to Revolt. Now it's open in front of Kazitsky. Into the space he moves. Didn't judge it well at all. Milne should be able to clean up. And Milne's online. And the Saints lead by 11.
This is Sumner, who's been sitting the last 3 quarters on the bench as a super sub. Drives it inside 50, and a free kick has been plucked out. It's going to Sydney.
Yeah.
So the umpire's changed his mind there.
I think he just signalled the wrong way. It was against Blake.
So it'll be Paul Bevan that has a shot.
Little hand in the back, that was it, I think.
That's it.
Bevan kicked a goal in the opening quarter.
Right there! Don't walk in, you're on. Don't walk
Chance
in.
to make it a 5-point ball game for his second. I think he might have just squeezed it through. That's 3 for Paul Bevan.
Down.
There's Sumner, but the handball intercepted. Snyder been quieter tonight. Oh, it opens up for Revolt. Looks behind him. Saw Mike Pike was there. Over to Stanley. Look at the confidence in the kid to kick around the body from that angle and put it through.
Well, I think the thing about Reece Stanley that excites us all is that here he is now on screen. Look how quick he is and how athletic he is. So you're not going to lose anything at ground level, and he can apply pressure. So why can't you play someone who's 200 centimetres who can tackle like that? Should have been rewarded with holding the footy. It is so exciting, Stanley.
And Milne, what will he do here? Into Mines. He opts to just slot it through. And the accuracy was there. Stevie Milne puts another one through for the Saints, and they start to skip away.
Glenn helped create the Stephen Milne opportunity, which he took
Stay clear, Andrew. Thank
gleefully.
you.
And now
Stay
St
clear,
Kilda
Darren.
lead by
Wow.
17, and maybe putting the foot down. But Swans have kept coming all night. Mattner's delivered perfect into the forward line. And was the most targeted Swan inside 50 late in the year, and that is why. No, Revolt couldn't get near it. Grundy, the margin standing at 11. Swans opening it up on the outer side. O'Dwyer's got Grundy to keep on coming. Stanley, we mentioned him, got a hand in. O'Dwyer through the middle again. They shovel it around. Malcheski, Mattner's on his wrong side. He had the handball. Kieran Jack closes it out from 35 metres, if you don't mind. 5 points in it. Game not quite finished with yet, Das. Here's Armitage off to Milne, and Milne skips through, buzzing around as always, and finishes off the Warwick. Now and then.
I think they need him to just remain forward. He has struggled tonight. He hasn't had a lot of the footy at all, just 8 possessions. Hardest position on the ground to play centre-half forward. But with Barry Hall gone.
And Jared Moore wins a free kick. In fact, it's McGlynn who wins a free kick here at his new club. And a chance to reduce the margin back to a kick. And he produces. Well done, Ben McGlynn.
On their first NAB Cup game under Paul Roos last week. Chance to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, they enjoyed it so much, I thought they'd try again. McGlynn into the 50, it goes Rowan, got a little shove. He's still standing, if it falls for him, and it does! And Gary Rowan will go in and level the score.
Of course, the winner advances to a NAB Cup semi next weekend to play the winner of tomorrow's game between North Melbourne and the Dockers. And another centre break here for the Swans. It's been an impressive couple of minutes. On the left is Mattner, goes long. Ooh, White was there, caught in front, couldn't take the mark. Now Curry needs to get the handball away. McGlynn fighting hard in and under. It's become a bit of a scrap. Here's Rowan again. He kicked his first goal just a few moments ago. Goes back to Mattner, and now Malcheski. He's just goes along, bombs it. White, with one hand, sees it over.
Exciting for Sydney. There's Jesse Martin. This is the man I was talking about in terms of excitement. Look at the composure and poise there. Under heaps of pressure. Got the handball back perfectly to Mattner. Lewis Jetta, another first-year player. Looks like he's going to play some footy this year as well.
Brilliant run from McGlynn. He did cop some high contact, I thought, but obviously he also got beautifully tackled. And that's the way the umpires saw it. Hayes breaks and accepts the pass from Snyder. Can take it at half-back eventually. Got Peake up on the wing. He has a quick peek and decides that he's covered. Goes inboard instead to McGualter, who drops the mark. Bevan applies the pressure and the clamps. And the Swans might win the day again. At least they force a 50-50. It comes out the back. King had no one to give it to, and he handballed into the space. It was really well thought through by the big man. Gets one back for the Ruckman's cause. Quick kick out wide to the wing. Young Smith takes the mark and then played on. But the handball away to Revolt. Off to Jones. Oh, he changed his mind. Didn't really make the going very easy for Graham. Wild handball Del Santo. Not a lot of awareness, but got the kick. It'll score. No, it's a mark to Armitage. David Armitage to have the shot for goal. Will he just sneak around here, or will he go back and kick straight over the mark?
There, stop.
You'd think he'd open up the angle here.
Kicked the winning goal in one of the NAB games last year. Sneaks around and scores a behind. They got up last week in a nail-biter, but there's still some time, you would think, here for the Swans. It's the Saints by 1.
And the small crowd has really come to life. Saints cheer squad, the Swans cheer squad, all on their feet. Kennedy needs to find a target. Kicks to Sumner, but Gilbert. He's been a brick wall back in defence tonight, Sam Gilbert. And he's happy just to kick 30 metres backwards to Blake.
Was it too early for this, Das?
Fair bit of time left, I would have thought. But the Saints are very good at being able to maintain possession, so you've got to get Sydney to really push up. They're doing that well. They're going to force them to kick down the line, so good effort to man up so quickly.
Extra time still a real possibility here at Etihad Stadium. Revolt in front, can't take the mark. Kennedy dispossessed. Jones looks to his captain. He missed it. And it is Grundy that sees it over. Have a throw in.
Got to take a risk now for a Sydney midfielder because we know that the Saints will own the corridor. So you've got to just go through the corridor, get as much distance as you can. You can't hold on to it.
It was the Saints by 1 point over Collingwood last Friday night at the same stadium. Jack, the clearing kick, kicks to half forward. It's a 2-on-2. Gilbert again shows great strength. McVeigh claims he was held. Ball's over the boundary line. Baker sees it over.
Good effort from Adam Goods there, but to sum the situation up now, again, that could have actually gone back into the corridor. And there's Adam Goods.
Swans have kicked 8 goals to 1 from stoppages tonight, so this has been their strength. Even though it's been pretty much level in clearances. Hayes wrapped up by Rowan. Oh, boy, that's a big call.
Time's on.
Big call.
So again here, Nat, they need to force Hayes to kick down the boundary line. He's going to take as much time as he can, but we've got one-on-ones all around the ground.
Right out, please.
Great discipline from Sydney.
Stay out. Thank you.
Hayes did it well looking at the replay, but now Montagna's got clear here, so that'll help.
Hey, Karen.
He's happy to go and suck up the clock for as long as he can.
Move it on.
McWalter tries to push off a man, so too Ray. Again, he's just going to have to kick down the line. He just kicked the revolt in this situation generally. McAvoy and Stanley all got there to help out. And it's out of bounds again.
So Mark Seaby will do battle here in this ruck contest with McAvoy. Seaby's just got to get it over his head back in the corridor. Risk losing the game to try and win it here.
3 big men one-on-one inside the 50. So there's no loose men in defence for St Kilda if Sydney happen to get it forward.
Yeah,
and
free
here
kick.
it is.
Sydney kick.
Matner behind wanting the handball. Kirk's got to give it to him. Got to get it moving.
And he does just that. And he goes long. It was Grundy inside 50. They need a mark. Goods. The high leaper. Couldn't pull it down. Schneider working hard. Dawson. Jones just goes for the safety of the boundary line. Is that deliberate? The umpire thought about it. So time is St Kilda's friend.
Runner out.
1 point ball game. Just on the arc of Sydney's goals. Goods, can he get there? No, in and under is Kirk. Squeezes it out to Mumford. He runs into a brick wall. The Saints players weren't letting him get out of there, the big ruckman.
Look for a third man up here. Goods is lurking. Here's Mumford trying to crash his way through. Great tackle there from the Saints. Gang tackle. So who's going to go third man up? It's the Saints.
And it was Hayes, Armitage, Ray. His kick was smothered. Gilbert again. Gee's been terrific. Jones on the left, out in front of Revolt. Awkward half volley, couldn't pick it up. Now the foot race is on. Grundy gets there. Kazicki just comes in, barrels through. And that is a fierce tackle.
Ridiculous decision. Ridiculous decision. No prior opportunity there. Shouldn't have been paid. Great tackle.
They've had 23 tackles to 14 in this last quarter, St Kilda. The renowned intensity just cranking out. Oh, a bit of handy cramp for Nick Revolt.
And they are the number 1 tackling side of the competition. Averaged 72 tackles a game last year.
And he boldly kicked to a ruckman too, Das.
Move it on. Play on. Play on.
McAvoy can kick to Baker. Just slightly lax there, the Swans. So Baker must be thinking, surely the siren's got to ring soon. 29 minutes gone. There it is. So the tradition of close ones between these two sides continue. St Kilda prevails and advances to the semi-finals of the NAB Cup for 2010.